Good morning, team. Thank you for again joining me today on another episode of my Monday Morning Pep Talk, episode number 287, From Clarity to Results, What to Do with Your Q3 Audit. And on this 287th episode of my Monday Morning Pep Talk, we're picking right up where we left off last week in follow up to your Q3 audit. But we're doing so with deeper context. Because if you're going to act on what you discovered in that audit, you need to understand where you are in the rhythm of the real estate year. And before I jump into today's call, I want to remind you of my purpose, and that's just simply to help you, the full service, full fee advisor, become more productive and more fulfilled. Because happy advisors sell more real estate. And I want you to listen. If we're one on one, this is your coaching session. This business, like farming, has planting and harvesting seasons excuse me. And no matter where you work, Chicago, Canmore, Connecticut, or California, your market has this seasonal pattern. And whether you're driven by weather, local economies, school calendars, travel, tourism, or maybe second home migration, the cycles they truly are real. And I know that the advisors who acknowledge that rhythm and plan around it don't just survive. In the end, they thrive. And here's what's true across nearly every market. Q1 and Q2 are your harvest months. That means your pipeline building, your planting, all that happens daily. But there is a massive focus on this pipeline building and business development in Q4. Q3 is really the one quarter that gives you the most flexibility to tackle these big projects. And that's why I believe Q3 right now is the most powerful and productive season of the year for advisors. It's the moment between harvest and planting when you can finally lift your head, audit your business, and make strategic upgrades. This is your chance to do the deep work on your systems, your CRM, your marketing, SOPs, financial planning, and yes, preloading your calendar with downtime and travel. Now, if this seasonal cycle isn't what you are experiencing in your market, that's fine. Just adjust, your harvest and your planting seasons as needed. Here's what I know after a decade plus, what now, 13 years of training, coaching agents or advisors, and then 27 years in the industry. High achievers always come out of a mid-year audit with clarity. And I also know that clarity is a tad fragile at times. And without a focused, time-bound execution plan, momentum fades and opportunity slips. You get pulled back into the urgent. You default to the comfortable. So today's Monday Morning Pep Talk is about building a simple framework to turn that reflection that you did during your audit into the results that you desire. Think of it as your Q3 action plan, your personal playbook for tackling what matters most before the fall frenzy begins. And I'm just going to take you through this action plan. It's 5 simple steps to help you execute with purpose. Number one, I want you to identify and score your top projects. So, coming out of this audit, you're going to be looking and reflecting, and you're going to see probably 3 to 5 themes evolve um, that surface during your Q3 audit. But I don't want you to stop there. I want you to score them using this simple but powerful filter, that I've used for years. Okay? It's a scoring mechanism. So I want you to ask yourself for each project, on a scale of 1 to 10, how impactful will this project be? 10 being extremely impactful, 1 being no impact. On a scale of 1 to 10, how easy will this project be to implement? 10 being very easy, 1 being extremely difficult. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how expensive will this project be to implement? 10 being basically no cost, just your time, and 1 being very expensive. Now add those 3 scores together. And you're going to find that your 29 and 30s are going to be your immediate hell yeses. Though that lower level, that next level down, that 25 to 28 is worthy of your Q3 execution. And then below 25, when you add all of them up, if it's below 25, that's probably a not now. Maybe we'll look at it later. Okay. Number two, focus on your highest scores first. Once you've scored your projects, stack rank them from highest to lowest. This next step is critical, and I want you to remind you to fight the urge to try to do it all. Start at the top of the list and work your way down. Begin with the 29s and 30s. These are your no-brainers, high impact, you know, low resistance, low cost. And then once you get through those and you look at what those 28s and 27s might look like, um, and really look at this point, at ease and cost metrics and look at those ones that are favorable. And then you're going to move down from there. Don't, ignore anything, under 25 for now. I don't want you to dilute your focus. Then ask yourself, of these top scoring projects, which three would change the trajectory of my business or life if I completed them in Q3? Okay. Pick those three. All right. Those are your primary focus. That should be your primary focus between now and September 30th. Everything else, honestly, it can wait. It can be parked over here, to be looked at later, or it could be delegated. Okay. Then, number three, break each of these into micro projects. Don't let priorities stay vague. Fix your CRM is not actionable. Instead, break it down into small components like audit tags and segments, launch my next 10 strategy, build drip campaigns for my top 100. When you chunk it down, it works and it becomes more actionable. Now, number four, assign each priority a primary month. If you got three things, assign one to July, and then the next one for August, and the next one for September. Just keep repeating this until you get you know, through all of those projects that you want to get done. Okay. Assign one big goal per month so you're not trying to do everything at once. Remember, you're getting a hell yes if you get all three of those projects done by September 30th. So keep that in mind. And number five, schedule your focus time now and stay accountable. This separates the pros from the procrastinators. Lock in 2 to 4 deep work blocks per week in your calendar. No appointments, no emails, just you and the project. We call this, when you're on a flight, you've got, you're moving, you're toggling over to, airplane mode. We want to do the same thing here. Toggle over to airplane mode for an hour here, an hour there. We want 2 to 4 good blocks of time that you can work on these projects. Guard this time like your business depends on it, because it does. Okay. Share your Q3 focus with your life partner, accountability partner, assistant, or coach, and set up check ins. And then track your progress. Use whatever tools match your rhythm. Okay. Whiteboard and Notes app, money.com, or a spreadsheet. This visibility, okay, builds accountability, and accountability builds momentum, and momentum really deserves to be celebrated. You hit a milestone, step back, take the win, reset your energy, and do not wait until Q4. I want you to sprint to a micro goal and celebrate. And in this week's email, the guiding principle blue box that I have that's on each email, this week's is plan, sprint, and celebrate. Okay. Final thoughts. Q3 isn't just another quarter, it's the most strategic stretch of the year for most advisors. Summer distractions begin to fade, buyers and sellers recalibrate, and most importantly, you should, in most cases, have a little more time. Q3 is your runway for big projects and that never fit into the chaos of Q1, Q2, or Q4. Now, you did the initial hard work last week. Now it's time to put your clarity to use. Look at Q3 as a gift. It's where leverage is created, infrastructure is improved, and new capacity is unlocked. It's not about doing more, it's about executing on what matters most with focus. Using this scoring framework by picking your top 3 and scheduling them and working your plan, it is the key to execution. I know that come October, you're either gonna be grateful you did all of this or you're gonna wish you had. Team, if today's Monday Morning Pep Talk resonated with you, do me a favor, share it with someone in your world who needs to hear this stuff that I talk about, whether it's a colleague or a friend or your team. I really believe that we rise by lifting people up and others up. And don't forget, every episode that I have is sent via email. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you're on the list by subscribing on Instagram under my profile at Ask Jim Miller. I want you to know I am truly simply here to help. And I know that if this has helped you, there's a pretty good chance it could help somebody else. So thank you, team, for jumping on today and joining me. And I'll be back with you next week for another episode of my Monday Morning Pep Talk. Thank you.